Record on this computer recording. Okay, let's start again. Right. Yay. Okay, can you see my slides?
No,
No?
I can't see your slide, but wait a minute, yes, I see your slide, sorry. Yeah, yes, it's up.
We're back. We're back. Thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry. We had a lightning strike that just knocked us out. Okay. Wish you were here. I'm gonna have to share this recipe. It is quite good. It was very unusual spices. Honestly, very unusual spices.
It needs to be on the menu.
Haddock. And there's some salt in there in case anybody needed salt. Haddock is another cold water, white flaky, fatty fish. And guess what? See up here, John? Full of selenium. And niacin and B3 and B6, B12. And remember, niacin plays a role in metabolizing the carbohydrates and the fats. B3 is also important to nerve and digestive health. And I'm going to say it something real quick here about people who actually suffer from a lot of depression and a lot of mental issues, disorders. They have a hard time metabolizing carbs and sugar. In fact, they have a hard time metabolizing food. And they're doing more and more studies along this line and talking about the methylation process, that there's some links missing in the methylation, but anyhow, I won't get into that. But it's showing here that how important that vitamin B is for nerve and digestive health and metabolizing protein and carbs, B6, and helps form red blood cells and supports brain health. So 22% of your daily value of niacin, 27% in smoked haddock, 16% of your needs for B6, and 75% of your daily needs for B12 is in a piece of haddock. 3 ounces of smoked haddock gives you 20% of the daily value of B6 and 57% of B12. So it doesn't take, you don't have to eat the whole fish. You're getting a lot of nutrition right here with just a, a serving size of 4 ounces. And now we come to mackerel, holy mackerel. Atlantic mackerel is an oily fish. It's also high in healthy omega-3 fatty acids, along with protein, niacin, selenium, and B12. Keep in mind that mackerel is often sold preserved in tons of salt, so you need to soak mackerel. And a lot of companies use mackerel in their omegas. So this is part of having some good fatty acids, and that's why they use it in the supplement industry, is because it has a good amount of fatty acids. Good choices of tuna is albacore tuna. Make sure it's troll or pole caught from the US or British Columbia. I use the Safe brand, Safe Catch brand if I'm buying canned tuna, because they test with individual batches. So they beef up, they test more often and in smaller quantities for lead and mercury and the others, the BPA. So this is a good choice. And again, go to the Seafood Watch, and they have they evaluate the seafood that we're consuming here in America, and they'll tell you what to watch for, what's been testing out on the low end for toxins, what's testing out on the high end, and things like that. So how we've learned here is that eat the good fish, avoid the bad fish. Do you think we can get that? All right. So what is the good fish? Cold water, fatty fish that is wild caught. Ooh, you guys are so sharp. Absolutely, that is wild caught. Now, fish you should never eat. I've included tilapia. The shift to eating more farm fish like tilapia is leading to higher inflammatory, according to a 2008 study published in Journal of American Diabetic Association. And Wake Forest University of Medicine research say tilapia is one of the most widely consumed fish in America. You know, this kind of shocked me because I thought, surely, but that tells me that if I check out everybody's freezer, the majority of them will have a pack of frozen tilapia in it, right? Oh my goodness. And I thought the information was out about farm raised tilapia, but apparently not. The problem with that, it contains very low levels of beneficial omega-3. And what are you after? High levels of omega-3 and low levels of toxins. So tilapia has high levels of toxins and low levels of omega-3. Oh my goodness. And has very high levels of omega-6, which you don't want that because that's what's in wheat and that's what's in, you know, the grains because of how they've altered our grains. Farm fish are raised in conditions often pumped with lots of hormones for fast growth, pesticides, feces, bacteria, and parasites. Think of it this way. When you force against nature, then you're going to invite problems, right? So when you invite problems, then they'll just say, well, they'll just give them an antibiotic, or they'll give them an antibacterial, or they give them an antiviral, or an anti-whatever. Now all of a sudden you got all of these drugs when you're eating this food and it's full of antibiotics and it's full of all this mess. So let's talk a little bit about fish oil supplements. Many people assume that fish is fish, right? That all fish or fish oil supplements are the same, right? Oh. Research, however, suggests that freedom from contamination is important if one wishes to derive full benefit from the addition of fish or fish oil supplements to the diet. So you see how important it is to vet your fish before you consume. Oh my goodness, we've been learning more and more about the importance of vetting things, haven't we? No, sure, we've been talking about that. Oh my goodness, why? Because not everything that says, hey, come over here, I'm good and I'm good for you is really good for you. So fillet of silver coho salmon, or do you want leftovers and petrochemicals? All right. So let me stop right here and explain to you, as it was explained to me, as I paid money to hear this guy interview, who is the head CEO of the largest fish supplement company in the world. He is the head, the CEO of the prescription omegas and the #1 brand sold worldwide. So this is how he shared that they get their fish oil from. He said they fish off the coast of Peru. And it's usually mackerel and sardines and anchovies. And when they gather it all up, they actually ship it to Israel or Germany. And Israel and Germany have these huge facilities where they have these huge vats where they extract the oil from the fish. And they usually use a chemical or high heat or a combination of heat and chemicals for that extraction. They identify the EPA, the DHA, because that's generally what everybody sells and wants. So it's by demand, right? So they put in big vats the EPA or the DHA, and then the company will call them and say, okay, we're ready for 10,000 bottle capsules of EPA and DHA. And they go in and they drain it out and they use it and then encapsulate it and ship it out. Now, when I sat down with our scientist, and his name is John Miller, and he shared with me, he said, Levon, where we derive our fish oil is quite amazing how we have it all set up. And he said, we even designed a special blanket that we actually fold over the fish when they bring the fish out of the water in the boat as they're taking the fish to shore to extract the oil, to make sure they don't become oxidized. Now, who does that? Neolife does that. Nobody else does that. Oh my goodness. So he talked about how every step of the harvesting, the growing, the harvesting, the whole process of obtaining our silver coho salmon and our fish oil, he said, is quite meticulous and quite amazing. So it's taken to a facility that we developed, a technology that we pioneered called an oxygen-free nitrogen environment. And the blanket we use to cover the fish as we harvest them out of the water is a nitrogen blanket. Wow. So let's go on and talk about, well, what do oxidized fish oil, what do they do in the body once they enter the body? Well, they can cause strokes, they can cause seizures, they can mess with your brain, they can mess with your metabolism, they can mess with your blood sugar, they can damage your liver. Oh my goodness. Oxidized fats from fish oil can actually incorporate into the very healthy tissue, altering both structure and function. So here you have a picture of a cell membrane. And in Neolife, we talk a lot about a cell membrane. It's a lot of communication signals, isn't it? And here is that lipid layer that has to be intact for everything to flow, connect, and receive. See, this is snipping here. But if a rancid oil finds its way into the lipid layer, the envelope of your cells, then it's going to compromise how that cell functions. And the cell membranes then will cease to function properly, and utilization of nutrients and the elimination of waste products will be dampened, and shut down. The consequences is that cells are more prone to oxidative damage and more susceptible to chronic types of diseases. So remember, we were taught by Louis that oil stays in the body for 7 years. But actually, we have a program to get it out of the body in just a few weeks. And I say America needs an oil change. And when you get on the Neolife program, you're switching out the bad oils for the good oils when it comes to supplementation. Wow. So let's take a look at some more. What can you believe? It seems to be so confusing, right? Hold the salmon, omega-3 fatty acids linked to higher risk of cancer. Here's those studies that's been coming in that's been talking about omegas. Wait a minute. I thought omegas were good for the brain. I thought omegas was good for the heart and the cardiovascular. I thought omegas was good for the skin and for the eyes, but wait a minute. This is some of the studies. Remember, the studies that give these results were because they use a synthetic rancid type of fish oil. Fish oil supplements linked to prostate cancer. Louis always cites that study almost at every single meeting. Taking omega-3 fish oil supplements may increase the risk of aggressive prostate cancer by 70%, the Daily Mail reported. What? That's pretty high level. You better know the fish oil that you are consuming and putting in your body. The story covered widely in the media comes from a large and well-designed study that was also found that high blood levels of omega-3 fatty acids were associated with 44% increase in the risk of slow-growing prostate cancer. Analysis by Brazilian edited in a website. So a good fish oil will give you good results. A bad fish oil will give you bad results. Oh my. Wow. Fish oil extraction. So let's go down a little path and kind of give you an idea on how they actually extract these oils from this fish off the coast of Peru. Once they are caught, the extraction process begins, and they use what is called a rendering. It goes into a rendering plant. Now, everything I've ever been taught about a rendering plant is not good. Number one, if you work there, you stink all the time. Number two, if you live near there, you will smell the aftermath of the rendering plant all the time. So you want to make sure you don't work there and you don't live there. So what about the products that are produced there? They're serving us up as food and supplements. Wow, rendering. They use high heat and they begin to extract the oil from the tissue of the fish. And mind you, it's not the fillet, because guess who gets the fillet? The restaurants get the fillet. It's the skin, it's the guts, it's the eyeballs, it's the other parts that the supplement industry, after the kitty cat industry, gets their part. So you got the cat, they come in, they harvest it. Okay, so you got restaurants to get the first pick. Then you got the cat industry that gets the second pick. And the third pick is supplement industry. Yay! And they use exactly the kitty cats fare better. That's why they had 9 lives. That's good. The other option for producing fish oil is to use solvents. So they do a combination here of using heat and solvents. And the gentleman that was interviewed, he said they use esters. And esters is a variety of chemicals that's used to extract the oils for purification. They have to distill it because that actually eliminates some of the toxins such as mercury and lead. Then purified for shelf life. And quality of the product, what they call quality. It must go through a degumming stage, a neutralization stage, a bleaching stage, a deodorizing stage, a winterizing stage. By the time you get it on the shelf of Wally Greens or GNCs, it's, I'm gonna say it, garbage. Anyhow, so it's oxidated, it's got a bad taste, it's rancid by the time you get it. And I looked at a study too, showing that when they tested fish oil supplements, you know where it says it has so many milligrams of omega-3s and so many milligrams of DHA and EPA, and they tested them and 75% did not have anything on the levels that were listed on the labels because it had disintegrated. Wow. So I'm going to show you a few of the labels. So let's take a look at the labels here. Do you see, Eddie, what are we looking for? Seal of accountability. We're looking for how many toxins it's tested for. We're looking for, is it cold pressed? We're looking for, does it have all 8 omegas? Okay, this one has how many? It's got 3. And do you see down here where it says that it has a preservative? That's fine. It says it's mixed tocopherols. I don't know where the source of the mixed tocopherols are, but it contains fish. Is there any salmon in this label? No, it's off the coast of Peru, sardine, anchovy, and whatever that is, menhaden. How about this one over here? Menhaden. Anyhow, this one over here, if you take a look at it, fish, anchovy, mackerel, sardine. Does it have any third-party seal? No. How many omegas does it have? 2. Is it tested for 200 toxins? No. So that's how it's been processed. You can see it very clearly on the label. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go on and take a look at another one. How about this one here? This one here says omega rich, it's good for the brain. They're going to highlight in the middle here on all that it's good for. But why do they have to put a lemon taste in it? Because it's rancid. That's your first sign. That's your first flag. Also, over here, I want you to see what is in this label. Oh my. Let's go over here and take a look at what's in this label. Do you see right here? It says purified, molecularly distilled pharmaceutical grade deep sea fish oil, natural lemon flavoring, and natural tocopherols. So in other words, and what's the seal? You see it down here where it says GMP, good manufacturing practices, which means they sweep the floors and they make sure they have their bookwork in order. So there's no way of detecting or testing for any toxins here. And how many omegas are in it? 1, 2. Okay, it's got a tiny bit of that. But really, truly, when they tested these, it didn't even have what was on the label. There was over 70% that didn't even have what was on the label. Wow. So let's take a look at the next one. Now, everybody, I get this question asked me all the time. What about krill oil? My doctor sells krill oil. My chiropractor says krill oil's the best. Or my friend, she takes krill oil. Take a look, number one, at this fish oil here at Antarctic krill oil for women. Do you see this word right here? What is that word? Tilapia. What's tilapia doing when it doesn't even have, it has more omega-6 than omega-3? What's it doing in my fish oil? Wow. And all right, so let's take a look over here at the krill oil. It has 2 oils, EPA, DHA. So it's a blend of krill and other fish. And it says it contains shellfish, contains some krill, purified water, mixed tocopherols, and vanillin, which is an artificial flavor. So why are they putting an artificial flavoring in here? By the way, I just read the story. It was Jacques Cousteau that said he doesn't understand why Americans would ever take krill oil because it was disastrous for he and his crew if they didn't have a way to pump their stomach when they ate krill for dinner. Oh my goodness. Aren't you glad there's not krill fish in that pot? Oh my goodness. But something else I want to point out on this label, because they'll add something into the label and say, ooh, you get an added benefit because what is the astaxanthin? Astaxanthin. It is a carotenoid. So they're telling you, oh my goodness, you get a carotenoid in this krill oil. Well, I did some research and found out that the molecular structure of this carotenoid in a krill fish is not the same molecular structure that's in a strawberry or a peach or an apricot or a spinach or a carrot or a pepper. None of them. It doesn't even identify in the body. It's a different molecule altogether. It's a molecule that aids a krill fish, not a human. Oh my goodness. What they won't trick in order to sell you a rancid fish oil. Now, how about this one? Wait a minute. Mine's from New Zealand, cold waters of New Zealand. And you can see, oh, I'm liking it already because it says it's farmed. Antler Farms. Farms. What's your first clue here? Okay, farms. So you don't know how it's being farmed. Not all farms are bad, by the way. But because of the industry and the demand of the industry, and because because of the profit margin, they're not going to pay attention to cleaner farming practices. So processed freshness, what does it say? Purified and distilled on location. So what happens when you apply heat to oil? It becomes rancid. Oh my goodness. So let's go over here and take a look at, but it says it's 100% pure wild caught. Then why is it Antler Farms? Do you find a conflict in that label there already? Okay, y'all are sharp. All right, so it's got vitamin E, or why does it have orange zest in it? Because it's got a deodorant. Beware when your fish oil has to have a deodorant on it in order to get inside you. Beware. So taking a look, it has how many? 1, 2, and it does have some extra omega-3s in it. Contains fish, all right, anchovies. So it's a variety. Does it say here fish, New Zealand, Hoki, and South Pacific, and manufactured, okay, so product of New Zealand. So you can see here that there were several things wrong with this label right here. Wow. All right, so let's take a look at, I think you guys get the picture. So when somebody presents to you, but I take the best of finest fish oil, snap a picture of it, examine it, take a look at it. If it's got a flavoring in it, if it's got a deodorant in it, there's a reason why. If it says it's molecularly distilled, run from it. If it only has 1 or 2, run from it. If it doesn't have a third-party seal, run from it. If it hasn't been tested for over 200 toxins, run. If it's not cold pressed, run. So omega-3s and brain health, vital to brain development, long-term brain health. And this is what breaks my heart. is that mothers who are pregnant that are taking these rancid fish oils. Long-term brain health, help retain better cognitive function over time. Omega-3 diets have been shown to lead to a marked increase in mental performance and IQ. But what if the omega you're taking while you're expecting a baby is rancid and full of toxins? Associated with better brain and vision development for the baby. Wow. So, what are we looking for? Yay! Neolife salmon oil, bioavailability. Why? Because of the water miscible. And I know this is vitamin A. As a matter of fact, let's see if I got a salmon oil here. And I'll show that to you. Well, let's see. I got a Pro Vitality in here somewhere. Here it is. All right, let's do the same thing with our salmon oil that we did. And I'll just take the rest of this. Yay. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, then I'm actually going to show you the water miscible of the salmon oil here. We showed you with the vitamin A. Now let's do it with the salmon oil. Liquid gold. Yay.
Do you have a styrofoam cup that you can show how big that?
I don't. Okay. Now this one is not quite as water miscible as the vitamin A is. It is as I stir it, but it's not quite as water miscible as the vitamin A. But you can see that it's tiny little droplets. You can see those tiny, like golden droplets in the cup. Do you see all those? Oh my goodness, all those little golden droplets. All right. The other would what? Just blob on top, and I didn't bring any. I should have. But you can come up here and see that it's actually glistening gold, glistening golden, tiny, tiny, tiny little droplet. It's bioactive, readily absorbed, and rapidly assimilating into cell membrane. Reduces triglycerides. This is clinical studies. Another thing that you asked for is show me the clinical studies on your fish oil you're taking. Show is it going to harm you? Is it going to help you? Is it good? Is it bad? It's real simple. And improved omega-3 index by 38% because it's omega-3s that controls inflammation. We need a little bit of omega-6, but not more than omega-3. So omega-3 is what controls your inflammation in your body. And this is why when you improve your ratio of 6 and 3 by 38%, boosting your omega-3, then what do you have? You have a reduction in inflammatory index by 68%. That's amazing. So improve the ratio 3. So balances inflammation in the body. And I love it because it's a systemic inflammatory balance. So if you've got inflammation in your brain, it takes care of it. If you got inflammation in your big toe, it takes care of it. So, and when somebody says, oh, I've got inflammation in my heart or inflammation in my leg or inflammation in my ear, you know, whatever it is, omegas are going to address it. I love that about this nutrition, this nutrient that God created that is so amazing. Neolife difference, harvested from a remote area off the coast of northern Norway, the very cold waters. And as a matter of fact, Tufts University research proved that Neolife outperformed the values of the top 10 brands, that we actually exceeded what was on our label when they had diminished as much as 40% on the label. So if it says it has so many milligrams of omegas, omega-3 or omega DHA or EPA, they actually found that it was the average fish oil was reduced by 40%. But when they tested the Neolife, Tufts University tested Neolife, it showed that it exceeded our label expectations. Now, how many here that when you come home every day and your husband exceeds your expectations? How about your wife?
Mine does.
Exactly. Exceeds your expectations. Aren't you happy?
Yeah.
All right.
Very
And absolutely, absolutely. So if you're not married, then you say Abba, Father, and by the way, he is our husband to all of us anyhow. So no oxygen mediated damage. So that means that it's not losing its powerful punch of omegas in transit, encapsulation, sitting on the shelf in the warehouse. It's not losing its value. So when people say, but my omega or fish oil is $2 less a bottle. Well, what are you getting at $2 less a bottle? You're getting something that's going to harm your kidneys, harm your liver, and store the fat from store the toxins from it in your fat, and it goes straight to your brain. Wow. So balance your cells, maximize good health, heart problems, youthful brain functions, screen for over 200 possible contaminants, allowed detection limit of 0. I love this. This is our SAB seal, Scientific Advisory Board seal. Tested for 200 toxins with a 0 tolerance. All 8 omegas on all those labels. Did any of them have 8? None of them have 8. I have yet to find a company that has all 8. Why? Because it takes the technology. First of all, you have to have the philosophy you want 8. And we have the philosophy that says if nature created 8, then we need 8. So the philosophy has to be right. And then the manufacturing and the technology has to be there to get all 8. Wow. And we did all that. We are the pioneers in that technology. So all 8 tested for 200 toxins, cold extracted right there, cold extracted, pure Atlantic salmon. Wow. High potency. So it has, you see here where it has high potency, ultra high potency omega-3. So it gives your body an extra punch of those omega-3s that we desperately need. Clinically proven to work. I love this because it's not a guessing game. It works. And we're going to talk about, it was Berkeley and UC Davis that did the clinical test on our Neolife salmon oil. Guaranteed potency. And it's proprietary molecular differentiation, not distillation, but differentiation, which means that we were able, this is a technology we pioneered, to maximize the omega-3 and give the perfect amounts of all 8 that the body needs. More 3, less 6, and balancing it out. It's about balance. Wow. Provides a perfect balance of your omegas. clinically proven, cardioprotective, reduce triglycerides 17%, improve omega-3, omega-6 ratios 43%, balances inflammation by 68% clinically proven. Wow. So when you sit down with somebody, show me your omegas. And I tell you, you've already won the war. Now, I don't want you to go in with all your guns busting. Use some people skills. Don't tell them, oh, you're taking trash and garbage. Sometimes that'll get you smacked. So you just say, if I were you, I would want to know. If your daughter was pregnant, wouldn't you want your daughter, and when you want your grandbaby to have the best omega, not something that's going to harm that grandbaby? So kind of pose questions at the person. Just for curiosity, can I see your omega that you're taking? Oh, it's a good one. I love it. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness. Well, I see here, this is what I look for before I put an omega in my body. And let me share with you why. Real simple. You're not going in guns a-blazing, but you're just sharing, and you'll be invited back if you share that way. So good news you can use. I love this. This is actually in your back office, but it's Dr. Emily Chu, which posted our Neo-Life research in the New England Journal of Medicine, when she posted about the importance and the benefit of omegas for the eyes and the eye health. If that's Dr. Emily Chu, is a famous ophthalmologist. So taking a look here is we did the research studies on this, and that and the research was showing the reduction in triglycerides, the reduction in inflammatory index, the balance in the ratios of omega-3 and omega-6, and all those wonderful things that you want to happen inside your body. So I love our timeline of 65 years of development in technologies. And you can see here that we knew this back between 1998 and 2007. Wow. And today, if I go knock on the doors of all my neighbors, I guarantee you they're taking the wrong fish oil. So I got a job to do. Oh my goodness. So showing here molecular differentiation, all 8 omegas, powerful clinical evidence published in Journal of American College of Nutrition, presented in the Bioactive Lipid in Cancer, Inflammation, and Related Disease, 11th Annual Symposium. That's Neo-Life formulas. Wow. So I'm going to wrap it up with showing you, oh yeah, you're going to get 10 servings of omegas in a Pro Vitality pack. Wow, 1 salmon oil a day will give you 10 servings over 30 days. That's amazing. 1 salmon oil a day. Wow. And obviously, if you've got a diagnosis of a lot of inflammation going on, you're going to need more than 1 to push it back. And if you've been taking the wrong fish oils or the wrong oils, and you need an oil change, you're going to take, all right, you want the good amount in to push the bad out. And then based in nature, backed by science, absolutely, you got to have the philosophy right in order to have the right end results. And we've got it. And we've maintained it with our heritage and our integrity for 65 years. Now I'm going to go back over and show you a couple of videos. Now, it's been a long time since grand. And why did it do that? Yeah. It lost the signal. I still have, okay. I got it back. I'm going to actually show you a video. Here it is. Okay. And I actually developed this email to send to people. And we've seen it here in the past, but I'm going to show it again tonight. Ready? Let's see if it'll work. Yay, it's going to work. I don't know why it's not. I have no idea why I have no volume. Brian, do you have any ideas? It said something output. I have no idea what that means. Something output. I have no idea what output means. Finder, file, finder, preference, application,
Do you have more than one session open?
okay, sidebar, okay. It seemed like there was something on systems, system library volumes. No, that's not gonna, applications, no. Oh, well. All right, so I'm not gonna be able to show it through there because I have no idea how to get a volume. It's never done this before. And I know you can hear me on the Zoom, but it did this earlier today. And
Are you able to control the volume on the actual YouTube? Like right there, that's on the number. Get to it and see where it is.
it's all the way up. It's all the way up. It says it's an output issue.
Oh, it's not allowing.
No, no. And I thought, remember in the past, I would toggle this up. But it says audio out optical. What does that mean? Audio out optical.
That's really not,
Can somebody Google that for
the
me?
optical is not what you want. You want another optical, like regular optical, not optical.
Audio out optical.
Can you change it to just regular audio, not optical? Is that optical is?
Where do you go to change it? Do you change it on my MacBook or on
No,
this?
probably not to be on that.
Well, I've got my YouTube up. I have no idea how to get a volume on
It's not-
this.
It's not an issue of volume, it's an issue of output.
Okay, okay.
But optical output is really not. That's normally reserved for like, people hook it up with like special sound systems and stuff.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna disconnect from this because we're not gonna be able to do it anyhow. But I'm gonna show it through here and see if it'll play through here. Okay, we got volume.
Not contain the ingredients they advertise. The investigation
Start.
about the safety and the quality of herbal supplements, a multi-billion-dollar business. At least one major retailer pulled products from the shelves today after New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman said GNC, Target, Walmart, and Walgreens sell store brand supplements that do not contain the ingredients they advertise. The investigation found that 4 out of every 5 products tested did not include the ingredients mentioned on the label. The Attorney General joins me now. Mr. Schneiderman, tell us about how you reached these conclusions about this investigation, something called DNA coding?
DNA barcoding. Yes, we have been aware for some time, and there have been other studies about this, that there were issues with herbal supplements. Unfortunately, the state of law and regulations is that the FDA can't require the herbal supplement industry to register when they manufacture or sell their products. This is essentially an honor system. So we decided to test the store brands of some major chains that sell in cities and towns all over our state and all over the country. And we were surprised to see that only 21% of the products had any trace at all of what they were supposed to be selling. So we tested things like echinacea, ginseng, things that are popular herbal supplements. And in the overwhelming majority of cases, there was no trace of the product that was purportedly being sold. So we've written cease and desist letters to these 4 chains. Some of them are pulling the products, just the lot numbers we tested off the shelves. They're going to explain their system for quality control. And I think that a lot of stores are going to follow this example and do the right thing.
There's another one I'm going to show you this real quick, but it shows you the state attorney's in there. GNC. Okay, let's get out of there. Go back. Now we're going to watch this one, which is specifically to
Patrick Clarkin is a hardworking PEI potato farmer. The island is known for its seafood, but Patrick,
I'm not a big fish eater, you know, there's certain things I like, but it's not part of my regular diet.
like many Canadians, he started taking fish oil to improve his heart health.
So I figured it'd be something that would add to my diet, something maybe I'm missing.
It helps maintain your cardiovascular health.
Popular brands make plenty of claims.
Designed to support your heart and your circulatory system.
I'm hoping that I'm actually improving my health. Otherwise, why would I take them?
Marketplace used industry standards to test 7 fish oil products. 4 of them showed signs of rancidity or spoiling. That means the fish oil could lose effectiveness and might even be harmful for people with heart issues. The most rancid fish oil we tested, Patrick's own brand, Nature's Bounty.
It's not a good feeling. It's shocking, actually.
Nature's Bounty admits because of how products are handled, it can't guarantee freshness.
All products age. The product that you tested age differently than what we normally see, and I cannot explain that.
The company insists rancid fish oil is still safe to consume.
The oxidative properties of fish oil will change the flavor of the fish oil, but it will not change the effectiveness or the safety of the product.
But Health Canada says rancid fish oil can lose its effectiveness. Patrick, after hearing our test results, he says he feels betrayed and has stopped taking fish oil. Charles Siagro, CBC News, Toronto.
All right. Woo-hoo. Okay, I'm going to stop share. All right, that actually concludes the class tonight. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Comment, yes.
The guy says it's okay to take toxic.
Well, he has to say that because they have no explanation. And the majority of all of your fish oil sold is rancid. There's no way to avoid it. He said that. There is no way to avoid rancidity. Wow.
That calls me line of the way.
Well, exactly. Now, Neolife's figured out a way of avoiding rancidity, but other companies are not willing to go to that extent.
How did they do it?
They do it by cold extraction, nitrogen environment, oxygen free, and they put a nitrogen blanket over the fish when they harvest them, bring it in, and they have a facility that is nitrogen, oxygen free, cold extraction. That's how they do it. Quite amazing. Anybody on the Zoom? Sorry about the issues tonight. We had the storm come through here. Hey, David, how are you?
Hey, good. I was just reminded, excellent presentation. Louis was reminding us the other night in one of the workshops about, I think the number 2 sold fish oil is like Nordic or something.
Yeah.
And right on the label, it says made from the unusable parts of the fish. It's kind of a weird, I don't remember if you remember him saying that, like they don't even use the fillet. It's crazy.
Absolutely. The eyeballs, the guts, the skin. Because like I shared, who's going to get the fillet? Well, it's going to be the restaurants or the cat industry. That's who's going to get the fillet.
You go in the menu in a restaurant,
Yeah.
have tilapia, farm raised,
Yeah.
then the real thing's only always about 20% more in price. Notice that.
Oh, okay. So, okay, Wade brought up that you can actually go to a restaurant and they can offer not farm raised tilapia. Now that's interesting because years ago, my husband used to fish Lake Parker and get a bucket of fish and go down here to the seafood place and sell it to him. And it was tilapia. Yeah, so that would be counted as.
They do buy local seafood. I mean.
You can get
There's 2 fish markets.
fresh caught tilapia rather than farm raised, but it's rare.
But you're saying that here, in the lakes here, there was tilapia here?
Yeah, oh yes, absolutely.
Tilapia and like.
Lots of tilapia.
I had never heard of that fish until just recently.
Really? Now,
I've not been on.
they're very sustainable for a farm. If you go over here to Land of Delight, and they actually teach you how to set up a swimming pool and do tilapia in it and use the tilapia droppings as fertilizer for your garden.
So on the property that I lived at in Plant City, we had like a bay head. It was a big pond there.
Uh-huh.
Loaded with tilapia. Also.
Yeah, so if it's good tilapia, but they are bottom feeders.
Is tilapia a freshwater fish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Speaking of bottom feeder, I looked up that menhaden.
Yeah.
It is a filter fish that eats mostly plankton, so it's
Okay.
really not a good.
Okay, and then they show a lot of tilapia ponds where they build the chicken coops across the pond. So all the droppings go in the pond for the tilapia to eat.
I really don't care for any freshwater fish. I've always been a saltwater kind of fish. I don't see
Yeah.
the point in fishing in freshwater.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense.
I grew up on rainbow trout, which is freshwater.
Oh, rainbow trout is excellent.
Rainbow trout.
I grew up
But
in the ocean, so I just don't, I don't need to.
Something else that you shared about using it for the fertilizer, good salmon and stuff like that.
yeah,
When my dad would fish and we'd clean the fish and de-egg the fish and all that, we always took that fish and buried it in our cart.
fantastic. See, you can reuse and yeah, my husband would go fishing, we'd have the carcasses and I would say, put them in. And if he did, that was the most luscious part of the garden.
Yes.
It was the greenest, the healthiest, where we could put the fish. Absolutely. Awesome. Anybody else want to make a comment before we close off for tonight's class? Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to actually stop.